Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for coming for so distant corners of Europe to be with us here today in Zagreb. Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, Cher Joseph, Sir Maria-Thérèse, dear friends, welcome to our 26th Congress. First of all, I would like to thank our Croatian hosts, HDZ. We know that you are now in the last phase of intense preparations ahead of the Croatian EU presidency. Also, in a month, the presidential elections will take place. But even in such busy times, you managed to dedicate time to our EPP family and to host this amazing Congress. Thank you, Andrej Plenković, thank you, HDZ, and all our friends that they're making all this possible, and best wishes for the upcoming elections. Thanks also to our amazing EPP team. It was a very long year after Helsinki. We didn't have any time to spare, but once again, our small but dedicated team has delivered. And I am very proud of every single member of our staff for finding the strength to set the bar higher one time more. In this electoral Congress, if you have to praise anyone, please praise the EPP staff. And if you have any critic, please, I am the one. You know, it's in my job description. We are innovating once again. If organizing the election of a new presidency was not hard enough, we decided not to miss the opportunity to invite all of you to share your thoughts on some of the most pressing challenges facing Europe. Under the heading, One Europe, Our Planet, Your Party, we want to hear your opinion. In this Congress, we will have two plenary debates. Today, we will engage in a discussion on a common challenge and responsibilities we share in the Western Balkans, where we are here in the heart of them in Zagreb. And tomorrow, we will reflect on the role of the EU in the international climate debate. You asked for that. Meanwhile, as always, we, in collaboration with our EPP group in the European Parliament, our EPP group in the Committee of the Regions, our EPP associations and the Wilfried Martens Center, we will offer you an exciting side program. It will be a great opportunity for reflection, exchange, learning, and for initiating a new and exciting political cycle in the history of our party. Dear friends, today we say goodbye to our dear President Joseph Daul. Today we say goodbye to a friend. Yesterday I said this clearly in our political assembly. Joseph Daul has shown us that there can be human side to politics. I know that our staff will miss him, like the staff of the group did in the past, because he has listened with the same care and the same respect prime ministers and staff members. He continued with the work of Wilfried Martens at the beginning, but then he realized in his pragmatic approach to things that there was a need for a better cooperation between the party and its groups in the European Parliament, in the Council of Europe, in NATO, and our Parliamentary Assembly in OSCE. He also understood that there was a need for a better human coordination among all of us. And he has done so with the same enthusiasm as he has participated in most of your political events all around Europe. Finally, he also understood the need for the EPP to be the beacon of hope for many countries who want to share with us our European dream. His commitment to Bosnia, Moldavia, Georgia, Armenia, Ukraine, North Macedonia, Albania has kept the loyalty of member parties of these countries to us, especially here, where the biggest challenge for the European Parliament is in the Western Balkans. We all know, if he is elected, that the next president of the EPP will keep his commitment with full strength. As Donald Tusk has said in his speech in the College of Europe some days ago, there will be no sovereign Europe without a stable Balkans integrated with the rest of the continent. And you don't need to be a historian to understand this. Dear friends, today we have before us a historical opportunity. We have the possibility to elect a leader with great political experience, both at national and European levels, and proven commitment to our EPP values. A man who fought the oppression of communism and truly understands the value of freedom. A man who I'm sure will put once more all his energy at the service of democracy and of building more united Europe. We should not miss this opportunity. Dear friends, as you know, for years I have been supporting the expansion of EPP membership, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, sometimes at a personal and political cost. I remember back in the day when I was criticized by self-proclaimed experts and bureaucrats for supporting the membership of parties like GERB in Bulgaria or PNL in Romania. I was then accused of undermining the Christian democratic values. I wonder where these critics are now when we all see how much GERB and PNL in Romania are doing to defend our Christian democratic values in Europe. A couple of weeks ago, we rejoiced at the fantastic news that came from Romania. PNL, led by our friend Ludovic Orban, managed to free Romania from the corrupt regime of Viorica Dăncilă, the tragic puppet of Liviu Dragnea. And this Sunday, Klaus Iohannis will defeat the socialists once and for all by winning again the presidential elections in Romania. In fact, this has been a year of great victories. Let's not forget the triumph of Kyriakos Mitsotakis, who freed Greece from the disaster called Tsipras. The leading position of Sebastian Kurz in Austria's snap election. And how could I not mention our victory in the European elections? Because we won in the month of May. I have a special message for the experts in futurology who predicted with certainty that the EPP would lose the European elections. You have no idea how much I enjoy looking at your shocked faces. I pity your sadness, but European voters do not. Europeans once again put their trust in the only stable, reasonable, and effective political force in the European Union, us, the EPP. Dear friends, I know you are tired of being attacked by everybody, by the so-called progressives, by the extreme right, by the extreme left. Good news is that the European citizens know who they can really trust when voting. We won the European elections and we secured what was ours, the presidency of the European Commission, against all odds, because there is a majority out there who looks for responsible and reasonable leadership. Eventually, all the masks fall off. Look at my own country, Spain. Pablo Casado, a reasonable and respected leader, is facing, like all of your countries, alone a desperate socialist government, capable of joining forces with the anti-European extreme left. Sorry, let's call it by real name. Communists, who hate the idea of a united Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, socialism in Europe is seeing the end of the story. They are incapable of producing stable governments in Europe. This is as true in Spain as is in all European countries. Unfortunately, reasonable leaders these days are hard to find. People like Jean-Claude Juncker, Angela Merkel, Michel Barnier, Donald Tusk are rare breed. Politicians with a sense of responsibility. Politicians who faced even with the most unreasonable interlocutors managed to keep our side united. For the very first time in centuries, British strategy has not succeeded in dividing Europe. I hope that one day the historic contribution of these leaders, these EPP leaders, will be recognized by future generations of Europeans. I also hope that history books will one day recognize that the EPP was the only party to be truly committed to increase democracy in Europe. And here, let me be clear. We will not give up on the Spitzenkandidat. Whereas the socialists and the so-called Renaissantists quickly betrayed this principle when it was clear they would lose the elections, I am proud to say that our political family saw the bigger picture, stuck to its principles, and fought for the process and its lead candidate. In 2014, Michel Barnier, as the gentleman he is, knew how to accept victory of Jean-Claude Juncker at our Congress in Dublin. Manfred Weber this year, as the gentleman we all know he is, not only accepted the verdict of the European Council, but also offered his full support to Ursula von der Leyen. It takes great courage and statesmanship to do so. Meanwhile, Timmermans and the European socialists are choosing the path of confrontation, as we have seen recently during the auditions for commissioners. It is for these reasons that I am convinced that it is up to the EPP to lead the way. It is up to us to build and to improve the Spitzenkandidat process. If the bureaucrats think they have won the battle, they are wrong. The battle to give more power to the European citizens to decide, the future of Europe has only started. Dear friends, as we kick-start a new cycle in the European project, and inside our party, I feel optimistic. There is, of course, a lot of work to be done. But as I see the list of candidates for vice presidents that you are now listening, I can only say that we are in the best hands to lead Europe again. Dear friends, to conclude my intervention, I would like to bring to the Congress part of the discussion we had yesterday on our political assembly. Prime Minister Plenković mentioned the demographic challenge faced by Croatia. That is indeed a huge challenge for many European countries. Our President also mentioned concerns about the mistake made by Macron in the accession talks with Albania and North Macedonia. True, Mr. Macron made a huge mistake, a huge miscalculation with very negative repercussions for the citizens in that region, in this region, and for the EU citizens. These are two very important examples that reminds us why we are here. We are here because we are the People's Party. Our mission is to serve the people, not to be a Brussels-based bureaucratic organization. Our decisions affect countries, regions, cities, families, real people. We should never forget this. But as long as we remain true to ourselves, and live up to our mission through our actions, I'm positive that millions of Europeans will keep trusting the EPP and honouring us with their votes again. Thank you very much.